Hi guys. Okay, so as some of you have noticed and told me, because I had no idea, the video that I made for today's topic, the sound cut out 1 minute in. And rather than trust that stupid program again, I thought I'm just going to come and do this live for you guys. I'm going to use it as an opportunity to test the whole save the live to upload to YouTube later thing that I'm supposed to be able to do at the end of a live before posting it while I'm at it. So I can't even watch it to remember what I said. It always never fails that if I feel like, I was on a roll and saying good stuff, of course, that's the time that it's going to be ruined. And I know I'm not going to be able to make it as good because I'm probably going to talk about completely different things because that's what I do. I just ramble on, kind of give myself a topic as a starting point and kind of think through what I want to challenge you guys. But then what comes out just comes out as I'm going. So I'm sad a little bit that you guys can't watch that video because I was really proud of that one. But hopefully, because it's from the heart, hopefully the same kind of stuff will come out again. So the other thing that I'm kind of a little bit annoyed that happened, of course, today is because tomorrow is my surgery. And I made sure that topic was done today so that I was available to be kind of interacting with you all for your comments. And you'll see why in a second. But I didn't want this to be something where I wasn't able to be responding right away. And I even actually asked your other directors that are in this group to help me with that today. And then now we're at scratch one, at beginning from scratch. I just mixed two sayings together, I think. Okay. So it's a little bit backwards of a topic, going against the grain for what we would normally teach as leaders, which is one of the reasons that the challenge requires our attention. And that's because I want to talk a little bit about the 5-minute pity party and what that concept, I was trying to remember the title I had written down for it and what that concept means. And I actually just recently learned this title, the 5-minute pity party, while reading the Miracle Morning book. But it was a concept that it wasn't new to me, and it's something that's kind of been something that I don't know the word. See, now I'm like totally fumbling over my words. Something that I kind of feel is my trademark or something that I know is a strength of mine. I'm not often super confident in out loud saying what my strengths are as a leader. And this is one of those things that I do feel is a little bit of my calling and why I love what I do and why I personally feel that it played a part in my success with Scentsy and building a team. And that is the ability to recognize the importance of not just shutting down any kind of negative energy or comments or feedback, and being able to allow that to happen within your teams and to make your team feel heard, validated, and allowed, permitted to not always think that everything is sunshines and rainbows or rainbows and unicorns or whatever you want to call it. But then the next part is the skill as a leader in helping them reframe it. And that's why I loved when I read the 5-minute pity party title for it, because I loved that, because that has always been, one of those beliefs of mine. And maybe it's because of my social work background or just my personality and who I am. And maybe it's to do with kind of the life stuff that's happened to me since I started selling Scentsy, and how it all went, because I've gone through a major divorce. I've gone through, medical testing for my kids and and behavioral type testing for my kids and day treatment programs and all kinds of stuff that anybody could use as an excuse and say, there's just too much going on in my life right now. I can't do what it takes to do Scentsy. Or to get up every day, really. And I had my moments, trust me, I had my moments where my pity party went a little bit further than the 5 minutes. Oh, see, now I'm touching things. Please tell me I'm still here, you guys, if you're watching live. I don't want to waste my time talking again. There were, there are things I needed to look at, treatment options for depression and anxiety. I certainly had my phases of my life where I was wearing my support system. Thank you, Caitlin. Wearing my support system in my family and friends down because I was in such a negative spot. And we all know that negative people can bring down the energy level and make it everybody else around them feel, kind of brought down with that negativity. So we know that's true. So I'm not saying we need to let our teams just be negative. What I'm saying is that it's a very delicate tightrope walk to not just shutting that down. Because what happens, and what I strongly believe, what I've seen over time as a leader, but already believed with my social work background, is that if you act afraid of what you perceive to be negativity, and if you try to just delete it without even commenting, or delete it and private message them and tell them why you commented, that's better than just deleting it. But I want to talk to you about how not deleting it at all is a better idea. Again, this is my opinion. I'm not judging the other leaders that do it differently. This is how I lead authentically, is to just tell you what I think worked for me. And I just think that this is one of those areas where it's been important to me to make sure that I not only do it, but try and train my leaders to do the same, because I believe strongly in it. I believe that people feel muzzled. They feel unheard, they feel invalidated, and it can have the negative side effect of them feeling like something's being hidden. Right? And so why I'm saying it's still better, if you're going to delete those kinds of things and private message the person, that is better. But other people in your team saw that post and then saw it gone. So unless you're going to private message every single one of your team and say, hey, I deleted that post because of this. And sometimes people do that, put a post up and say, hey, you may have noticed a post, I deleted it. But then that just opens the conversation up again anyway, when you do that. And so that's why some leaders, they don't want the conversation on their team pages to go negative, because they know that it can have a spiral effect of bringing down other people who maybe weren't concerned about that issue. So to give an example, hi guys, to give an example of that. So say, actually, and then it happened last night after I'd already made the original video. One of my customers messaged me about how long bulbs should last. So I answered her questions. We had a little talk about it, whether it was like maybe an issue with her base, or, if she's just got unrealistic expectations of how long her bulbs should last. And me to give her some tips, like don't screw it in too tight. So I thought everything was good. I'd answered her questions. Then I scroll my news feed and see that she had posted like 45 minutes earlier than that she was so frustrated and ready to go buy Walmart because her bulbs weren't lasting. And then there was the big conversation of all of her friends saying, mine last, that seems odd. Something's up here. Maybe you should look into that. Others going, yeah, I'm frustrated too. My daughter says Walmart wax is just as good. You might as well switch. And I'd already answered her. Like, we'd already solved the problem. But then I see this post is on Facebook. So it's kind of funny that happened after, and now I have to do this video over again so I can talk about it. But I actually commented on the thread, the education I'd already given her, to flip it for the positive. and then sent her a message and said, hey, I know we'd already talked about it, but I decided to comment on your thread since so many of your friends had been commenting and I wanted them to have the education as well. And she was like, yeah, I realized quickly there were too many opinions and that's why I private messaged you. And so I just kind of had a little giggle with her and said, next time come to me first, with a wink, because I hinted a little bit at her about how Facebook things can spread and be misconstrued and all of that. Now, she's not even a consultant who has to worry about that. She's a customer. She doesn't care about how it affects my future business. She just was ranting, and that's what people use Facebook for. But here's the clicker, or the cincher, why I want to tell you guys about this. Then she said, I know, I'm thinking I should just delete it, the post. I made a decision and told her I would rather you didn't delete it now that I've commented, because I don't want people to think that, your Scentsy consultant panicked and said, take that down. Because we have to be careful that we don't, because people will be suspicious and they will wonder if we've got something to hide about our product. And I said, I commented to and then the education is there for those people that maybe are feeling the same thing. And she's like, you're right. And then 2 seconds after that conversation, the friend whose daughter uses Walmart wax commented after mine. And I did have that moment of like, maybe I should have just let her delete it because this could get out of hand. But then no, I was like, I believe strongly in this, that it is more important that people read the positive flipping of it, the educating of it. Somebody else said something about Walmart wax being cheap. And instead of commenting it, because I said to my customer, I don't want to appear like I'm just becoming this Scentsy consultant to the rescue, trying to, save my business by getting into it with these people that think Walmart wax is better, because I'm not going to get into that. But I private messaged my customer, who is my customer, because it mattered, and said, the one thing about the Walmart warmers is that they get hot, and they've got warnings about keeping out of reach of children. And she's got 2 young kids. And so then the conversation turned into like, she's like, yeah, he plays in the wax all the time. And I love that about Scentsy, that it's not burning him. So I said, yeah. And I didn't get into posting that to all of her friends. But I wanted to give good service to her about that. So anyway, my original video was about how you take care of your team when you have a Facebook page or when you're getting private messages from your new recruits and they're negative. How do we handle that? That is a skill that you need to learn, and we learn by practicing, and we learn by educating ourselves into the purpose behind things, and why it's important to make sure that we're helping them. And so this 5-minute pity party is saying, look, feel those feelings, let it out. Sometimes you guys will see me handle it by saying, I'll say that right out. Hey, you guys, like if it's a really bad thing that's going on, like during some of our flash sales when the internet or the site traffic was crashing, the site or whatever. And so obviously the negativity, everybody's frustrated. I'm frustrated. We're all feeling it. The home office staff are frustrated too. So those are the times where I will, say, let's let it out, guys. We get it. We hear you. We get it. We're feeling it too. Because if I just jump in with the positivity, then they just feel like I'm trying to just shut them up and muzzle them still. So if you just flat out delete it and try to avoid anything negative ever being said, they feel like you've got something to hide. If you jump in with positivity too quickly, they're going to dismiss it as, oh, she's just protecting Scentsy's image and she's not really being real or honest with herself. Because if it's something that you're feeling frustrated with, think that through. Yes, you don't want to let your team get negative and your team space get negative and out of control. But if you're feeling it, they need to know you're feeling it too and that you're real. And chances are, if you're feeling it, they have a valid reason to be feeling it, right? Because we love Scentsy. We love what we do. So if something is going on that even makes us frustrated, then we know it's legit a frustrating situation. But we also know that there's going to be things like that happen, or, Scentsy home office staff are human, or they're learning as they go, or they make it right, or all those things that we know that we have the advantage from being around longer and being leaders. because we learned through experience of other times that this stuff happened and Scentsy made it right. We have the ability as leaders to share that and pass that on to team that gets scared or panicked or frustrated or whatever. Or it might have nothing to do with home office. That's just one example. It could totally have to do with just their own feelings, their own confidence about the business and how they're doing at it, or feeling like there's too many consultants, or they can't ever get into events. You guys know the drill. You read this stuff all the time, or you felt it yourself. So it was twofold today. I wanted to talk about this because I want you guys to understand to try to not do it yourself because of understanding how it can bring others down or spiral out of control and make others that weren't feeling frustrated go, hey, well, maybe I should feel frustrated by this if so many people are frustrated by it, which is kind of the opinion that's out there from a lot of Scentsy people. But I also really wanted to push the fact that just being afraid of it and deleting it backfires on you, and it doesn't actually help your team feel supported and like you aren't hiding some big secret that there maybe is some big issue with Scentsy and that all you care about is that they keep selling it to make you money, right? So the challenge today for why I asked the other leaders to be kind of available and that I wanted it done today before I'm out of commission for a little bit was, this is the backwards part, I want you guys to complain. Under this post, I want you guys, after you've watched this whole video, so if you just jumped in late, please wait until the recording pops up and start from the beginning so you hear my whole background info for it about why we're doing this challenge. But I want you guys to pick something to complain about that's real, that's valid. Don't just make fun of the complaints we see and be over the top about it. But pick something valid that you have felt or are feeling. Again, not only towards home office stuff, because we don't have as much control over that either, but just about things that are happening in your business that you feel like you would want to go and post a rant post about. So hopefully you know not to do that on the team pages if you can avoid it, and to go to your upline to try and get support. But I want you guys to do this here because I want you guys to, two things. See the role modeling from myself and the other directors about how we help you flip it, but also practice helping others flip it. So I want you guys commenting to each other on each other's complaints and helping them flip it. So they're allowed to feel the feelings and have the 5-minute pity party. And how are you going to word that to let them know that they're allowed to feel those feelings? But then let's help them find solutions. Let's help them flip it for the positive. So yeah, maybe I should explain that. I think I explained that better in my old video. It's not about just flip it for the positive and just like comment the opposite. It's about solution focused. That's why this is very much from my social work background. So things like, yeah, that sucks, but usually Scentsy makes it right, or that's par for the course. Lots of us have been there where we felt that, but you know what? When we kept going, we started to see, or I tried this and I found success finally, or I realized I was standing in my own way. And whatever it is, I want you guys to each pick something to rant about on this post in a way that you would do it or see it done. Because we still need to be, oh, right. And the last rule for when I don't delete it is that it needs to be respectful. People need to stay constructive and respectful. If there is uncalled for language, accusing people, not being willing to listen and hear us out, and just still being stuck in their, I want to hate the world stance, that's different. That's not what I'm talking about here. Those posts do turn into a private conversation with the person about that not being acceptable for our team goals on the page, or the use that we have that page for, or whatever. I still do try to avoid deleting them because there are lots of people reading that saw all the good that we tried to do for that person. So even if the person who started the rant is like not going to budge and they're stuck in their negativity, everybody else that's reading that isn't even maybe commenting is seeing, might be feeling those same feelings, and we may have had an effect on them with our positive flipping. So I hope that made sense to you guys. And you might want to watch this video a couple times to really drive this home, because this is one of the harder parts of our job. And it's one of the scarier parts of our job, because we're allowing negativity to exist and influence others on our team. And we're trying our hardest to not seem like we just only care about our paycheck, and that we do care about our team members, to help them through that. Because this is a business where lots of people quit, and the biggest way that we can be successful and help that not happen is helping them through these times, these negative rants, these negative moments where they really, maybe they're justified feelings, but it doesn't mean that they're justified feelings enough to quit, because there's always a solution. There's always a reason. And there's always 100% reason to have faith in Scentsy as a company, that they want to make it right, that they will. If it is completely not okay what's going on, usually we can advocate and have it right. So, and there's lots of examples I could give you guys about that, where, people have really felt like, I know they can't do anything about this because, I don't have the proof. And I'll say, but you know what? When I break it down and I say, is this right? And I can advocate to my contacts at Scentsy and say, this person does not just take advantage of the company all the time. This is a situation. We realize that they don't have the proof, but this isn't okay because it really wasn't their fault. What can you do? 99.9% of the time, Scentsy does something to make it right. So there you go. That's a little bit of what the other video said, a little bit that it didn't. But yeah, we are here for you guys today. We're going to do this. You're going to let yourself feel it. But you're promising me that you're also going to help each other and being a part of the solution and a part of the positive conversations too. Because the more you practice that here, the more you'll give that to the regular team pages when these posts come up. And you're going to, through this exercise, you're going to feel yourselves feeling those feelings in your own head where you're like, wow, okay, I do feel better. It isn't the end of the world, or isn't that bad, or there are solutions available that I didn't think of, because it's always better when we do it together. So have a great day, you guys, and we will be talking to you. Thanks for coming on live with me and for understanding about the other video.